Papua New Guinea is a country where it's still, like large part of the economy is informal sector.
Yeah.
So your cooperatives, your, SMEs, your, that sector needs some kind of, training, and India has a success story. We don't need not to, reinvent the wheel. Basically, some help can come from there, and then they can learn from India, and they are keen to learn.
Hello and welcome to the Gist on Stratnews Global. I'm Surya Gangadharan and good evening. This edition is focused on the Prime Minister's visit to Papua New Guinea, and we have, as you're aware, the PM is meeting not only the heads of state of Papua New Guinea, but also interacting with the Forum for India and South Pacific Islands. These are 13 or 14 odd member states, and there's a summit there with quite a few of these leaders, which hasn't happened in some time. So we are going to go to our two guests who are standing by in Port Moresby, capital of Papua New Guinea. On the left, we have Colonel Sandeep Shaligram. He is the CEO and director of the International Pacific Hospital. And on the right, we have Rajeev Sharma, CEO of the National Superannuation Fund. Gentlemen, glad to have you and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
My first question to you, the same question to both. Colonel Shaligram, you first. What is your sense of this meeting, of the interactions that you have been, in a sense, a part of today?
Firstly, this meeting serves to acknowledge the importance that India places on the relationship with the Pacific nations, and also vice versa. The Pacific nations have come to focus, they come to world focus with PM Modi visiting here and hosting the FIPIC summit in Port Moresby. So that's a great achievement. It brings the world focus there. To that matter, not many people across the world know where Papua New Guinea is. Now they would all know about it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of trade happening, a lot of commerce happening, which flows through this. The shipping lanes flow through this area. However, the area has remained neglected. Now, the Pacific countries are expecting and looking up to Mr. Modi to be their champion and bring their cause of climate change and all these economic backwardness or lack of development to the World Forum. He being the world leader that he is today.
Okay. Rajeev Sharma, your take.
All right. Look, PM Modi, basically, he came and pledged has to increase the bilateral trade and cooperation in commerce, technology, healthcare, and also augmenting climate change discussions with Papua New Guinea. Like when he came here, it was a very warm welcome given to him. And it was when he came here, both Fiji and Papua New Guinea, they have basically conferred on him the highest civilian award, which is Companion of the Order of Loguru, which gives him a title of chief in Papua New Guinea, and similarly, Companion of Order of Fiji. So this basically was conferred. So that signifies that relationship and how important PM Modi or India's relationship with Pacific is. And everyone was referring to him as leader of Global South. So that was an achievement. I mean, the summit happened delayed, and it should not have happened in 2016-17. But it could not take place. But we forget now when we discuss anything that last 3 years were COVID and things did not move in COVID. So definitely what we have achieved is a relationship, a starting of that relationship, which is core and fundamental for doing anything further for the bilateral relationships.
Mm-hmm. Colonel, you mentioned that there will be world attention because of Prime Minister Modi's visit. But tell me frankly, India's interest in this part of the world, from our point of view, appears rather episodic. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree with that. It's been rather episodic for a very, very long period of time. The Indians started coming here in the early 50s. All the schooling system here was set up by Indian teachers. Including the medical school, there were Indian teachers who came, Indian lecturers who came and set up. The tea estates and coffee estates, largely British owned then, were also set up by Indians. They didn't come as laborers, they came as planters and supervisors and managers. The tax system in PNG was set up by the Indians. However,
Yeah.
again, as you said, it was episodic. Now, there is a large potential. This is a resource rich country with gold mines, silver mines, copper mines, oil and gas. Unfortunately, none of the Indian giants is present here. You have the Australian companies, the mining companies, you have Australian oil and gas company, you have American giant Exxon, who is here, Total is coming in now. There is enough for opportunity for Indian companies too.
Rajesh Sharma, do you, I mean, you've been there for many, many years, 20 odd years. Is it your sense that this region perhaps may not figure very highly on India's radar because of the distance involved?
Yes, absolutely. Two things. Like when you do a trade is done on the basis of whether it makes sense for the local businessmen to import things or not, right? So India is far away from Papua New Guinea. But having said that, last 10 years, the whole way the trade is done has changed. The digitalization move, which has come, which has changed India, it does not need that. That barrier of distance has gone away. To take a few clues from there, like if you look at this bilateral relationship, Aadhar card, PAN card, UPI, or Paytms, services like this, or for the election services, all these, the automation there, those things need not basically have to go through the barrier of this distance. So they are, like seamless. And these are the areas. Digitalization is one area where a lot of cooperation is expected. And I think IT and digitalization probably will lead the next phase of enhanced cooperation between Papua New Guinea and India.
So, Rajeev, you've been there so many years. What is the Indian presence there? I mean, I understand the diaspora may not be very big, but is it a very influential diaspora? What's your sense?
You see, Indian diaspora here is mostly professional people, actually. So when people come here, they are either engineers, doctors, chartered accountants, and professionals who basically come here to work. And they work here for a few years. Few of them migrate to other countries. Few remain here, like me, and basically built a career here. I started 20 years ago, and now basically I'm heading the Superannuation Fund.
Yeah, the things have changed. There was a time things have changed. Like you see, the top 500 companies in the world has Indian CXOs. Things have changed in PNG also. 5 years ago or 7 years ago, it was different. People were in middle management level. Now today, you have the CEO of the largest superannuation fund who is an Indian. There's a hospital CEO who is an Indian. There are many other Indians who are stepping up to take senior management positions.
So I'm a little... yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that there was other cooperation which basically enhanced the relationship was earlier we would see public servants from India getting posted into Papua New Guinea, and that really used to serve well. Actually, if you look at if I talk currently to any senior government official, they would always quote 15, 20 years ago, we used to have our, superior who was from India.
With the learn from them.
Yeah. So Department of Finance, Department of Treasury, medical school, university, even your income tax department here. So that enhanced cooperation somehow has basically stopped since last 10 to 12 years. There is no one coming now.
Yeah.
So that needs to basically again restart. I mean, that really helped Papua New Guinean economy and people here.
Including like the Indian education system is so wonderful. It's so inexpensive to study in India as compared to other places. Whereas in India, nobody looks down upon you. There's no disparity. There's no racism, unlike other places. So unfortunately, PNG has very few students in India. Imagine a whole lot of students, by paying 1/10 of what they pay elsewhere in the first world, would go and get quality education in India.
So education is one area where you believe India has much to offer. What other areas would you say?
I would say first and foremost is infrastructure, IT and technology area, where digitalization is taking place rapidly.
Yes.
That is one and foremost. Second, we will say the education, because a skill set needs to be enhanced and basically
People need to be made employable.
employable. So that two things. And then third thing is basically agriculture is another area which is not more talked about. Papua New Guinea has got a very fertile land. This is a country where
And no
rice is a staple diet, and they don't grow rice here.
And no dearth of water. No dearth of water, arable land. And also it grows great quality vegetables, which due to logistic issues, they're not able to export as on today. But at the same time, there is a huge scope for the service industry, which India has mastered. There is none out here. 100% English-speaking population, educated people, a young 63% of Papua New Guineans are young today, young population. However, the service industry hasn't grown. India could lead the way, setting up, offshoring service industry.
Absolutely, and telecommunication is another sector. Telecommunication. I mean, when I talk to like CEOs of the telecommunication companies here, they say ARPU here is one of the highest in the world. So it means that even if they have population size of 10 to 12 million Kina, but in terms of if you say equivalent amount of ARPU in India, it is far higher, several times higher. So that would make more sense. Just because it's far away, probably forgotten. And that is something which needs to be basically brought back, in the real sense that people could make money here. I mean, for example, Digicel is one of the very profitable making company here. They started only in 2007.
Mm-hmm. No, we had Quad meeting here before the PM landed up in PNG. Yeah? So when you look at the Quad, you look at India's membership there, the fact that it's moving forward with the focus on the Indo-Pacific. Do you get a sense that perhaps through the Quad, the India's interaction with this region could increase?
Yeah, mainly through the G7, and also the FIPIC summit, it would increase definitely, because it represents the countries which are bordering the Pacific and have influence in this area.
Mm-hmm. So what is it that is holding India back? I mean, I'm sure you must be meeting Indian embassy people, you must be interacting among yourselves. What is it that you feel? Is it just a lack of capacity? Is it a lack of interest? And what is it?
No, that's not really a lack of interest. The Indian government did move at a good pace, having two FIPIC summits, one in Fiji and one in India in Jaipur. The third one was planned, but again, pandemic pushed it back. The PNG government has always been keen to progress things. One is the pandemic has pushed back things by 3.5 years or so. Second is this region is still under a lot of Western influence, being a protectorate of Australia till 1975, and the neighborhood matters.
Mm-hmm. So is it?
Yeah, please go ahead.
You would obviously look at your neighborhood first when you need something quickly or you need support for anything, instead of asking for a partner that's far away.
Yeah. So how would you describe Australia's influence in PNG? Is it? I mean, you mentioned it was a protectorate at some point. Is it still the case? Does Australia have a control over your foreign policy, or?
I would not say control, but yes, they have a very active participation in the development in PNG.
Mm-hmm.
They have been involved in this for the last 100 years. So there is active participation and active.
Yeah, in 75 only this country got independence from Australia, and since then Australia provides support, budgetary support year on year,
and they still call it the mama country.
Yeah, so Australia for them is like
the mama country.
The mama country basically. Yeah,
I see. So what then does what happens when a country like China, which we read so much about, gets into the region and seems to be spreading its influence? How do you see that?
I heard a lot of this question bouncing over the place here, but I don't think that it holds water here. The thing is, there is no Chinese influence in PNG, rather. It stems from that the Solomon Islands, a small neighboring country, which is just one island,
Yeah.
one large island, Guadalcanal, and some smaller islands. They have signed up an agreement with China to set up a defense base. So that's set the cat among the pigeons and got everybody worried. Now PNG is not like that. PNG is different. China apparently does not have any influence here, so-called, or any threat. Yes, it is a place for business, given the proximity that China has geographically. And this is a developing country, like any other developing country where there are business interests. China has business interests here too. There is Chinese aid which has been offered like any other country to PNG. And with the Chinese aid, the Chinese companies come to do trade and commerce out here. That's about it. Yes, Australia and US are very active in setting up a base in a defense base in Manus Island.
And if you look at the aid which comes to Papua New Guinea, and Australia still remains the major contributor.
Yeah.
Apart from Australia, then you have New Zealand, and then you have JICA, which Japan comes from the JICA aid, and they contribute very regularly. Now, ExxonMobil came in this country in say is actively they started working around 2009-10. Now we have seen last year they have set up US aid, and it means we will have more interaction from US commerce side and help side, which will flow. And I'm hoping that like because Total project which has been already signed, FID is expected end of the year. We will see probably more aid coming from that part of the region also. So as Colonel mentioned, it's not China. China is one of the players, but that's how it's talked about, and that's what we want India to become basically a valuable partner here, and that's what we're looking for.
India can offer them solutions which work. Trying first world solutions in a developing country may not work. A lot of them still don't work because they are first world solutions made for first world conditions. So India has shown the way how a country can go from developing to developed by successfully implementing a lot of things, and all this would translate into actionable things for Papua New Guinea.
So, how does that region see India?
There is a lot of respect for India. There's a lot of respect for Indians. You talk to any of the local gentlemen, or the people in PNG, they know a lot about India. It interests them. They don't look at India as a partner who is trying to bulldoze them or who's trying to arm twist them, but they look at India as a world leader today. There's a lot of respect.
Absolutely. Teachings of Mahatma Gandhi is
Yes.
something very common here.
People are very familiar with India. Very familiar.
Is it Bollywood or is there something deeper?
No, it's more deeper.
On the contrary, they are not much they know about Bollywood.
No, it's not about that. You see, there is a program which embassy and government runs here, where public servants are sent on educational projects to India. So a lot of public servants, they go, and when they go to India, they basically see India, and they attend weddings there, and they eat food there. The amount of Indian restaurants we have in Port Moresby for a city like this, you will be surprised. And the quality of Indian food we get here is far better than you get in other countries.
I see. I see. So we are in the last question here. Going forward after this visit, what is it that each of you would like to see happen? Colonel?
See, we would like to have a larger number of people from Papua New Guinea going to India, a larger number of going to India for seeking businesses, for training. So many things in India so inexpensive as compared to balance of the world, and it's so good. The training, the schooling, or any trade training, it is so conducive. The atmosphere is so wonderful for all these people to. A lot of them PNG people, they look like Indians. Many of my friends here, they could just pass off as Indians in India, and
absolutely.
Nobody would even look at them and think that they are somebody else. Indian culture and PNG culture is very similar. The family culture, the joint family, looking after people, all this, and they find themselves at home in India. So this would change the dynamics of how these countries interact, how they trade between each other, what technology transfers happen. Today, for India, which launches 102 satellites at a time, for
Yeah.
them to provide a telemetry solution to
Solution to it,
a
absolutely.
country like PNG,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer, and it would change the dynamics of communication over the entire country. PNG is so similar to Northeast India. Tribes, a large number of tribes, tribal boundaries, tribal values, tribal issues, difficult terrain, thick forests, poor communications. So all these satellite communications or technology, as Rajiv said, will change the lives here.
Rajiv, yours?
Yes, my take would be what I'm expecting is India to probably enhance a setup, something like your OSED or US aid or New Zealand aid, where more business opportunities could be generated from that aspect. So basically, strengthening of that part will basically give more leads to basically Indians back in the India. Currently, whatever initiative is taken, it is taken by people who are working here or doing their own businesses here. So that initiative probably needs to be slightly more strengthened. And number two, there are small gains which needs to come, because as I always talk about small gains, like Papua New Guinea does not have a, a unique identifier, which creates problem in a lot of areas. Something like a PAN card or Aadhar card would be a fantastic way to basically offer them solution. Thirdly, interaction at sporting level. I mean, both India, a fanatic cricket loving country, and Papua New Guinea, a fanatic rugby loving country, if they can interact and interchange. We would love to see more Indians playing rugby and more Papua New Guineans playing cricket. When I say about Papua New Guineans playing cricket, being a so small country,
They're very
both their
fast.
men and women team, they basically qualified for
The World Cup.
World Cup International actually. So if we can help these players getting some exposure in the clubs in India, that would be just fantastic. And one more unique thing about Papua New Guinea women team is seven of their women folks. They're all mothers. We'll see in other parts of the world when like when the girls they get into motherhood, they basically stop playing. It doesn't happen in Papua New Guinea. Very strong women. And similarly, I'm sure like Indian kabaddi team, we see them. I'm sure these people can, if they are trained, they can play
They can
rugby.
play
I mean,
kabaddi.
we definitely need one more sport in India, and we can export kabaddi to Papua New Guinea. They probably would be very good at it. So the far more exchange in those areas are required, so that we learn more
Okay.
about each other.
Agriculture is the key to providing alternative economies to PNG. Such a huge amount of land, cultivable land, very fertile, full of water, it's available, irrigation available everywhere. They just need a little bit a tech push.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And you see, Papua New Guinea is a country where it's still, like large part of the economy is informal sector.
yeah.
So your cooperatives, your, SMEs, your, that sector needs some kind of, training, and India has a success story. We don't need not to, reinvent the wheel. Basically, some help can come from there, and then they can learn from India, and they are keen to learn. And like from Kerala, what they do with the entire coconut trees, and from they used everything. Papua New Guinea also has a huge production. If you look at their agriculture produce, they produce pretty much everything. And one such example is we say palm oil. Palm
Yeah.
oil, Papua New Guinea is a large producer of palm oil, and India is a large consumer of palm oil, but it goes indirectly. I mean, it takes 20 years probably a tea to grow. But again, in these terms, 20 years is not a lot. If we start something, which will achieve something. So I think more cooperation, more, because it is far away, probably it's less spoken about. A smaller country, then it is probably not given as importance as it should have been given. So, but I think the time has come, and right kind of these dialogues have started taking place. And this visit from PM Modi, I can tell you the warmth which PM Modi gave to Papua New Guinea, and same warmth which Papua New Guinea and all Pacific nations have given back to Modi ji, it definitely is going to pave path for further more enhanced cooperation between India and the Pacific countries. And as PM Modi said, they are no longer a small island nations; they are big island nations, and everyone recognizes PM Modi as leader of Global South. So that's what probably would be my take.
So, just to sum up, India and the Pacific Islands may be separated by vast bodies of water, but there are areas where we can cooperate to the benefit of both, including, of course, India's digital public goods, agriculture, perhaps, and kabaddi. Let's not forget kabaddi and rugby.
Technology.
So, gentlemen, pleasure talking to you, Colonel Shaligram, Rajeev Sharma. Glad to have spoken to both of you on the PM's visit, and looking forward to more such interactions going forward.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much for having us.
And for those of you who joined us on this conversation, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media and Twitter. Thank you and good night.